Back on the SportsMax zone, there was another massive upset at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar on Wednesday. Four-time champions Germany were beaten by Japan at the Khalifa Stadium in Doha. And the most impressive aspect was that the Japanese had to come from behind. Ritsu Doan and Takuma Asano netting late to give the Japanese a 2-1 victory in the Group E opener. Ilkay Gundogan had given Germany a 33rd minute lead from the penalty spot, and the Germans having a terrible start to the tournament, having come out of the 2018 tournament in Russia with bad results, bottom of the table in their opening group and failing to advance as defending champions. Now, one of our international football correspondents, Simon Evans, has been following the tournament, and he joins us now. Simon, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Always great to have you on. Let me start here. Like Argentina against Saudi Arabia yesterday, Germany against Japan today dominated a lot of the stats. They, possession-wise, dominated the ball, had far more shots on goal than their opponents did, as did Argentina yesterday. But the most important statistic is the final score. Any similarities between what happened with Argentina yesterday and Germany today, as far as you make it?
Yeah, a different sort of game in the sense that Japan, much less of a physical side than Saudi Arabia were. Japan like to get the ball on the ground and play with it and so on. But they played a sort of containing game in the first half, which didn't really work because Germany were enjoying a lot of the ball in the final third and they got 1-0 up. And so Japan had to come out of their shell in the second half. And as soon as they did, Germany looked vulnerable. Yeah,
the pace of the Japanese would have always been a threat to the Germans, because certainly pace and speed would not be regarded as strong points for Germany. So the Japanese did well in the second half, especially to use their pace to bring themselves back into the game.
Yeah, they exploited space in the wide areas. The winning goal came from Germany's left side of their defence, where they did struggle for a while, and they struggled quite a lot down the right as well. Because, as you say, the Japanese moved the ball very quickly. They're nice to watch when they start playing like that at Japan, and I was a little bit disappointed that they took such a cautious approach in the first half. But maybe that's a case of being up against one of the big powerhouses in the game and thinking, let's try and get to half time at 0-0 and then take it from there. They didn't manage to get to half time goalless, but they did take it on from there and played some good stuff. And it's not out of the question that Japan could go on and pull another surprise and get out of this group.
Yeah, and to the credit of both goalkeepers, they both brought off some good saves. Both Germany and Japan had opportunities to score more goals in this match. So overall, from an offensive standpoint, there was a lot for the spectators to enjoy in this game.
Oh, yeah, it was a cracking game. It was a really, really enjoyable game for the neutral. And we like to have, unless you're a Germany supporter, you like to have surprises in the World Cup. But it's been one of the plus points of the tournament so far to have Argentina and Germany both upset, but they're still in the tournament. So it's good at this stage to look at that. And I think a lot of countries will take hope as well from seeing Japan and Saudi Arabia come and take on countries that we all look up to in football terms and show that, if you do the work. And Japan's football development program over the years deserves a lot of credit. I mean, they've developed every tournament, really, and this really is the peak of what they've done so far.
Yeah, a lot of Jamaicans would have remembered that in 1998, Jamaica defeated Japan at the World Cup finals in France, and now look where the Japanese are and the Jamaicans are. Quick look, though, at the full results today before Mariah jumps in, Simon, on what happened today on the Qatar World Cup program. As we said, Germany beaten 2-1 by Japan. And Spain winning 7-0 over Costa Rica to jump to the top of Group E in commanding fashion. No goals between Morocco and Croatia, and Belgium getting a tough 1-0 victory over the Canadians in Group F.
Yeah. Simon, a quick comment now on Spain that win 7 goals. They literally trashed their opponent without a doubt. I think after the first half, I could have said, that match was over.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I think after the first half hour, it was over. Spain looked good. They're a much more enjoyable team to watch, this version, Luis Enrique's version of possession football, because it's very attacking, combined with pressing, fast. They're a really difficult team to play against. You've got to be on top of your game, and Costa Rica were nowhere near on the top of their game. nothing like the levels we've seen for them during qualifying in CONCACAF, and they really struggled. I think this Costa Rica team is a sort of transition, isn't it, between that generation of 2014 that did so well in Brazil and the younger players coming through, and it's not quite gelled yet.
Yeah, how impressed were you with the Barca teenager, Gavi, announcing himself on the global stage?
Yeah, I mean, he's just had an incredible career so far. Every time he gets thrown a new challenge, he just seems to take it in his stride. I saw him make his debut in the Nations League, and he was excellent there. He's a really, really composed, intelligent footballer. Another of these great products from Barcelona's outstanding academy.
Yeah, an ominous start for Costa Rica. Do you see them bouncing back? Where did they lose today?
Oh, I mean...
Any positives?
It's really... No, there aren't any positives for them, unfortunately. It's really hard to bounce back from that because any defeat like that upsets a team. But when it happens at the World Cup, it's amplified because the whole world is watching this and everyone in Costa Rica will be thinking, oh my goodness, everybody thinks we're terrible. They're not terrible. We know they're much better than that. In the CONCACAF region, we see them regularly and we know they're one of the top 4 or 5 teams in CONCACAF regularly over the last 20 years. But it's not a great Costa Rica side and they didn't play well. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, well, they did get through to Qatar, Simon, by virtue of the Interconfederation playoff because they did not get an automatic place. The teams that got automatic spots, Mexico, the USA and Canada, have started well in the World Cup. USA and Mexico particularly strong. And the Canadians, even though they lost today, were very, very threatening. Belgium had to play their socks off to fend them off. And there was that penalty missed by Davies.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Canada because they deserved at least a point out of that game. They should have had another penalty in that first half as well, where there was a very confused decision from the referee with an offside given after a back pass from the other team, which obviously can't happen. And then there was a foul after that obviously wasn't able to be considered by VAR for some reason. But, you know, Canada had loads of chances. They had loads of opportunities in the box and couldn't put one away. Belgium had much less chances, much fewer chances, and took it. And that's really the story of that game. But very impressive, confident, brave attacking performance from Canada.
Yeah, I remember about 25 minutes to half an hour in the game, Simon, the commentator mentioned that the Belgians were in their own 18-yard box like 12 times in the game so far, and they hadn't been in the Canadians' 18-yard box more than once or maybe none, and that was like midway the first half. So that told you about the offensive pace and the Canadians and the threat the Canadians were showing in the first part of the game. So I agree with you that the Canadians suffered a tough loss there because the Belgians, who are, well, they have been for long periods in the past 2 or 3 years, the #1 rated team in the world.
Yeah, there's been so much talk about the Belgian, the so-called golden generation. I'm tired of people using that phrase, to be honest, and now I'm using it myself. But it's a team that has always had 2 or 3 outstanding players in it, but hasn't quite had a good enough supporting cast, I think. There's no doubt that De Bruyne and Hazard are 2 of the best players of the last decade. And Lukaku up there as one of the best centre forwards of that period. But there's a lot of average players in there as well, and I wasn't impressed with Belgium at all today. I think they were very fortunate, and I really like the way John Herdman, the Canada coach, sends his teams out with that positive attitude, not doing like a lot of teams against the big nations and trying to, or the more favoured nations, and trying to, protect something, going out there and trying to take the game to them. And I think Canada won a lot of friends, actually, today with the way they played. It was really enjoyable to watch. Yeah, very enjoyable. Good football we saw today at the World Cup in Qatar. Simon, thanks for talking to us. We'll continue to be tracking the tournament and the performances of the teams on a daily basis, a lot of times with your help. Thanks, man. All right, cheers. All the best. Yeah, so Germany suffering the same fate that the Argentines suffered yesterday. Not that they're out of the tournament, because there's still a chance for them to get out of the group. But as I suspected when we were previewing the tournament, I don't think neither Argentina nor Germany will go too deep into this tournament. Well, I actually will say that these upsets come at the right time, and
unlike you, I'm going to be a bit optimistic, Lance, and say that, you know, they got these losses out of the way. They got the reality check that they need. And the next couple of matches that we see them, they're going to improve and we'll see better football from them.
Yeah, of course, on Thursday we have the Brazilians starting off and they'll be up against Serbia, and Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, they will be in action as well, and they'll be up against Ghana. There's the schedule for Thursday. Group G, Switzerland against Cameroon, Brazil against Serbia, and in Group H, Uruguay against South Korea. The South Koreans, of course, beat Germany last World Cup, and Portugal, they're up against Ghana.
Yeah, Thursday looks lit, Lance. What time do we start?
Early. 5
Yeah.
o'clock. Jamaica time, 6 o'clock in the Eastern Caribbean.
Yeah, well, still to come on the SportsMax zone, the latest from schoolboy football in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. Antigua and Barbuda bodybuilding star Kimberly Percival will also be linking with us on the zone. And in Just the Facts, Lance and I will attempt to answer some tough questions about upsets at the FIFA World Cup. Stay with us, lots to come after the break.